Right, good morning everyone. Back in the park today. Just going to chat a little bit about, I did a Substack this morning about what I call government people. Government people are the ones that they do whatever the state tells them to do every single time. And I'm a bit surprised that no one seems to notice it. I've never heard anyone talk about it, not articulate it in that way. You usually just call them things like left-wing people and all these political labels. But I think there's a lot more to it than... I don't think it has anything to do with political labels at all. As I see it, when I look at the Anglosphere and the society, I see so much passivity, tribalism. I think these things they're done by design. Very depressingly, I think the intelligence services have created a section of society that is so passive and unable to engage. Intellectually, all their critical thinking skills have been depleted. They have been emotionally debilitated through the education system, university system, mainstream media, and it's just an issue, I think, of pattern recognition. I've got quite severe Asperger's, and we notice patterns, and I'm just surprised that so few people notice that there's a large section of our societies that have no intellectual engagement, but they always take the side of the government every single time. Just think about the last 5 major issues that happened in the Anglosphere, and just think about the people that were on each side of those issues and the people that were not. And I think what's happening to that group is that they're not able to defend themselves intellectually on their own, and they've been made very sensitive emotionally. They're very lacking in confidence, and what they do is they rely on the government propaganda machine to prop them up. So they don't need to engage in the subject, because they don't need to articulate their own ideas, which would require engaging in the subject. They just repeat what they're told to say. They're very parochial, it's very insular, it's very soul-crushing to watch it. But my point is that I'm surprised that it's not really recognised. That pattern doesn't seem to get recognised by other people, because it's kind of frightening in a way, because if you know that they believe government propaganda every single time, I think a lot of people get caught up being annoyed at the current thing. They get annoyed that people believe government propaganda during that moment because they're in opposition to it. But there's something worse than that, really, which is if they believe the last 5 things passively, unquestioningly, they believe the current thing with the same amount of passivity. Well, the frightening thing for me is we know they're going to believe the next thing. and the thing after that. So then that begs the question, what is the next thing going to be? Because whatever it is, they're going to believe it. I never hear people talk about it from that angle before. And I don't know why that is. Again, like I said the other day, I think for a lot of people, they're so damn close to the situation that it's hard for them to get some time away and think about what's happening in their culture. I also mentioned the other day that I think that 9 times out of 10, when you're dealing with these people, and they're always government people, it's always government people that have got this kind of narcissistic personality disorder. And when you're dealing with them, people, I really don't think people should take what they say on face value, because these are not people that are politically engaged. So they don't know the subject. They're making claims about a subject that they don't know, but they're not engaged with the subject. And of course, when they start talking about a given subject, it makes the listener think that they are engaged in that subject. Otherwise, why would they be talking about it? But they're talking about it because they're just passive. They're talking about it because they're just being passive to that subject as a result of being made to feel insecure by government agencies, being told things that aren't true all their life by the media and the schools. Then they go out into society, they feel insecure, they want to try and be intelligent. The media tells them that intelligent people think like them. They jump onto that bandwagon, and well, now you have the situation. Then you have the situation that we're in now. I don't know how I would. I don't know how I would cope living in the UK at the moment. It was bad, and I mean, it wasn't that bad back in the 90s. It was pretty good, but I don't think I could cope with it now. I remember we used to have these university students used to do my head in, and BBC people, they used to do my head in. They were awful personality. It's kind of like very high in earnestness and very low in intellect. And I remember I used to think to myself, what a combination that is to have as your personality, like a low IQ nerd. Well, what a combination. Anyway. So I've been listening to a few podcasts from Ireland, and they're still, the Anglosphere, especially Britain and Ireland, they're still having these issues with being worried about being called racist, which I do understand in the beginning, but I would have thought that you'd have got a grip on it by now. For what it's worth, my opinion on that is, the people that are saying it, so what happens is it always gets labelled as what they're trying to do is shut down discourse. They're trying to shut down speech, and that's their objective. I think it's something slightly more complicated than that. I think what they're doing, I think it's a psyop by the intel agencies, and what they're doing is they're getting that passive class that I referred to before, and they're using them as a weapon to shut down any dissident voices. So those people, they're high in narcissism and they're low in compassion. So the way a lot of you guys take it on face value that they're against racism, I mean, just take a look at their personality profile, their psychology profile. It's not even remotely high in compassion. Yet when they scream anti-racism stuff, they're taken on face value. I think that's a terrible strategic error. I mean, if you were to ask them, just as an example off the top of my head, if you were to ask them, what is it about racism that's so wrong? Well, you know they wouldn't be able to articulate an answer, because they can't articulate language in general terms, much less abstractions like that. So, anyway, I am I'm surprised that people don't deal with that one a little bit better. And yeah, I've been listening to some Irish podcasts, and they're saying that the Irish are very shy about getting called racist because they've got a lot of problems in Ireland, huh? So I don't know, they're going to have to deal with it one way or the other. Americans seem like they're dealing with their problems pretty well. My article this morning on Substack, if anyone wants to read it, it's Simon Noxon at spiritualpsyop.substack.com, and it's just an article about, I don't know if you know the meme, I believe the current thing, which is kind of what I'm talking about today. I believe the current thing are those people that, I call them the government people. Some people call them the sheeple. I call them the government people. And my article is just about how basically they're arguing yesterday, especially yesterday, about whether Zelensky is a dictator or not. And my point is, I don't think people care. I think the trouble is with the Western culture is everyone has to pretend to care. I don't think they don't care about the dictator in Equatorial Guinea, right? But why do they only care about the things that are put in front of them on their news conveyor? I don't believe it. I don't think that people care. And I think they just have to take their tribal side. They have to defend their ego. And there you have it. Well, that is, I believe, the socio-cultural situation, political situation among people in the Anglosphere at the moment. It's bloody cold here. I think it's -10 and my hands are absolutely freezing. So anyway, I'm going to call this one a day. I might make another video on the way back once my hands have warmed up. And otherwise, I will see you probably next week. Thanks for listening, guys. See you soon. Ciao.